A group of senators has introduced legislation to dial back government regulation of business, so they say those businesses can create more jobs. I sat down with Utah Senator Orrin Hatch, one of the sponsors of the bill, to talk about the bill and the challenging re-election battle that he's now facing. Well, thank you for your time today. I know that you're working hard with a group of senators on legislation about regulations and what they're doing to U.S. businesses. How big a problem do you think it is?
It's a tremendous, horrific problem. Senator Portman and I and others have filed a bill on the unfunded mandates. This government is piling unfunded mandates on the backs of businesses all over this country, and it's killing us. I mean, and there's no reason for it. And so what we would do is we found this bill that basically would make them have to look on the effect it will have on businesses, how it's going to hurt businesses, what it will do to stifle economic growth. And we even give the courts some extra power to be able to look into some of these regulations, which is long overdue.
And, you know, the White House has recently undertaken an effort to have its agencies look at the regulations that they have in place and have some kind of consideration of the impact that they're having on businesses. Is that not good enough for you? Do you think that doesn't go far enough?
Are you kidding? This is the most regulatory White House we've had in the whole time I've been here in the United States Senate. They believe that everything ought to be ruled right out of Washington, that we ought to all be subject to what Washington thinks. I mean, you just take it from health care right on through. You look at EPA and their regulations there, they're just offensive, they're overwhelming, they're stifling business development. No wonder we have a 9.1% unemployment rate at this point. And really, if you look at the real underemployment rate, it's somewhere around 17%.
So how do you respond to the critics? You mentioned the EPA, who say those who would go and roll back those regulations are going to endanger our communities, our children, because businesses need some kind of regulation, especially when you're talking about chemicals pouring into the environment, those kinds of things.
Well, let me put it this way. We can do good EPA regulations that basically would help take care of the environment without shutting down every business in this country, or an awful lot of business in this country. And frankly, where are kids going to go if they can't make a living, if they can't get a job, if they can't get the food that they need? And I'll tell you, that's what you get when you get Democrats in control of the government. They believe that the government is the last answer to everything, and that all they got to do is have the government tell us all what to do, and we'll all be better off, and we'll all just march in nice little lockstep and be happier than ever. And that's just total bull.
And obviously you still have a lot of work to do in Washington, so I have to ask you about your own political future. Any concerns or worries about the possibility of a primary challenger or your campaign ahead?
Well, we're going to win out there. It's going to take a lot of effort because we have a very interesting system in Utah. And that system was a very difficult system for Senator Bennett, as you all know. Fortunately, we have a really good young senator in Mike Lee here in the United States Senate. But I intend to be chairman of that Finance Committee.
All right.
When I take over as chairman of the Finance Committee, we're going to see that we live within our means. We're going to make sure that people are not taxed to death. We're going to find ways of solving the problems with Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, international trade, bonding. And of course, we're going to do our darn level best to be able to come up with a reasonable and a reasonably workable tax code instead of this colossal mess that we have today. I don't care if I'm the most hated person in Washington, D.C. I'm going to give everything I have to it. I have to be reelected to do it. And I intend to do that, and I've had a lot of support all over the country in spite of some very notable, obnoxious people. And I have to tell you that I intend to get reelected, and I intend to get this country pulled out of the mess and rut that it's in. But it's going to take more fiscal conservatives in the Congress. It's going to take probably, and I believe it will take, a Republican president who was also a fiscal conservative.